this episode, I'm with Johnathan Dane, the GOAT of building a pay-per-click agency.
One of the actually main differences why we're not called Customer Boost and we're called Client Boost, because customers are transactional, clients are relationship based. What can we do to delight our clients? Not just get by and meet expectations, but beyond just the actual, getting the goals and the technical skills, actually making them feel like they're their best friend. And if they ever wanted to quit, they would feel the most guilt they've ever felt in their life to move away from us. Looking back, it didn't automate anything. It was all just, again, scrappiness, resourcefulness. I had no money. The thing I knew that would always get people to kind of perk up was to give them value first. After leaving the first one, I thought I knew everything I needed to know to build an agency. And I get hit in the face with new things like every single week that are just different tweaks to a system or processes that we never put in place. So yeah, I would be much more well-rounded and ready to go for the third agency.
Everyone wants to be great, but only few actually get there. And I'm on a mission to find out what all the greatest have in common. I've traveled tirelessly to find, sit down, and talk with GOATs, people that are arguably the greatest of all time at what they do. Sales, marketing, advertising, business, podcasts, branding, you name it. The way they do things may be different, but they all seem to see the world the same way. To them, success is not only achievable, but inevitable. And we'll get inside their heads as they share their expertise with me each week. My name's Mike Arce, and this is The GOAT Show. Finding someone that has truly mastered the Google AdWords game is almost impossible. But if you do, you've easily found a marketing avenue that can help take your business and life to new heights. Johnathan Dane and the KlientBoost team are hands down the best I've seen in regards to understanding how everything works when it comes to ad creation, ad management, conversion rate optimization, and design. They're the only company I personally trust, and working with their team has been awesome. To learn more about how you can work with Johnathan and his team, go to betterppcads.com. Again, that's betterppcads.com. Also sponsored by Agency GSD. Starting a digital agency was definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made. Building it, however, was a lot more challenging than I expected. I always wish someone just gave me a roadmap that I could follow and just let me be a fly on the wall at the successful agencies out there so I could really see how it's done. Agency GSD allows you to do just that. Stop playing small and visit agencygsd.com to learn how to help hundreds of clients get it to 7 figures and be extremely profitable along the way. Again, go to agencygsd.com. Hello everybody, I'm Mike Arce and welcome back to another episode of The GOAT Show, where we interview people that are arguably the greatest of all time at what they do. And today, I am here with Mr. Johnathan Dane, the GOAT of building PPC ad agencies. Johnathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. I'm excited. We've had a friendship now for a few years.
And it started off really strange.
It started off extremely strange. I want to get into that. I don't want to jump right into that because I want the people to really get into this whole episode, because I learned a ton from you, and I feel like everyone listening, everyone watching could do that same thing too.
Yeah.
So what I want to start off with is, right now you own an agency.
Yes.
KlientBoost, with a K.
With a K,
right? We put the logo right here on the screen.
I owned the domain with a C as well, but decided to be a little bit different and just throw out the K, yeah. Perfect.
Okay. So now you've had this agency for, is it now 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
That's right, because it was January 2015, right?
Yeah.
So now you, a little over 3 years. What I think a lot of people struggle with is hitting that, even a 10K a month mark when they first start, believe it or not. But that 7-figure mark, $1 million in a year, $83,000 a month, that's the magic number. 83,333.33.
Is that what it makes out to be? Okay.
Oh yeah. That was a goal of mine for a while years ago. So they struggled to hit that 7-figure mark. In fact, only 3% of businesses ever reach $1 million in annual revenue.
Wow. Didn't know.
So you've done what only 3% of people have done.
Yeah.
And less than I think it's less than 4% of the 1% reach 10 million.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay.
So, and you're trending for there too.
Yeah.
So let's just start with this. KlientBoost, how many customers or clients do you currently work with?
So we have 140 right now.
140 clients. What does your average client pay you?
About $3,500.
$3,500 a month. And that's your fee. That's not including ad spend.
No.
So what's your monthly recurring?
So right now we're at about 460,000 a month.
Okay.
Right now, yeah.
So, and you just started your business like 3 years ago.
Right,
Now,
right.
You feel like
it
not
feels
just
like
started.
an eternity,
of course.
Yeah.
But like for most people, you hope to break even by that second year.
That's true, yeah.
Right. And so your first year, you already were close to that 7-figure mark, if not already past it, right?
Yeah, we hit 100K in like a little bit after the first year. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're at geez, what's that come out to? Are you going to do 6 million or something like that?
Yeah, we actually want to hit 500K by next month, and so we still have a whole 9 months left of the year to grow even further.
Now, here's the thing. He is the GOAT of building PPC ad agencies.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because this is your second ad agency.
Right.
The first one, when I initially met you, you grew very quickly as well. And so now here, you're even trending faster than you did the first time.
Right.
Because now you've got it. You know what to do.
I learned a little bit, yeah.
Do you feel confident that if you had to start from zero again, you'd be able to do this all over again?
So after like leaving the first one, I thought I knew everything I needed to know to build an agency, and I get hit in the face with new things like every single week that are just different tweaks to a system or processes that we never put in place. So yeah, I would be much more well-rounded and ready to go for like the third agency, but it's just like it's never ending. You know?
Right. So I want to take it back.
Yeah.
And here's what we're gonna be discussing today. We're gonna discuss what you did before you got involved in an agency period. Like, how did you get here?
Yep.
Then we're gonna talk about the growth briefly in the previous company. Are you cool with us saying the name?
Yeah.
Disruptive Advertising. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about what are the main like the things that you go, okay, these are the main things I do. If I was gonna start another agency from zero, here's what I've learned now after doing it twice right. Here are the things I will never not let go of, right? Yep. I'll never let go of. So let's start with what you did before.
Yeah.
So before you got into the ad agency world, what were you doing?
I was hustling on Craigslist.
What does that mean? Whoa, so wait, like what does that mean? Because that could mean a lot of things.
It can mean, you're right, it's very cryptic. Let's just leave it at that. No, I used to flip jerseys.
Okay.
And then I also used to basically buy and sell like workout kits and DVDs.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't mention this, but let's see what happens. Like P90X, things like
yeah,
that too.
Of course.
I remember I got a letter from the port of Long Beach, basically telling me that they seized my second shipment of these counterfeit DVD box sets, and I was to like await further notice, and I was like, I'm done. Like my life is over. And so after that, I started doing some more like legit white collar stuff, like actually detailing cars, and did that and made about like $300 to $400 a day in some great days. And then from there, I got a full-time job as a customer service rep. They wanted me to learn like Google AdWords, and then I learned a little bit about it. Then figured out maybe I could actually use this and get more clients and post my ads on Craigslist for my PPC services. So that's kind of how it all started.
So you were just running Craigslist ads. That's how it started. Like, hey, I'll do PPC for you. I'll run your AdWords ads.
I have no money. I have time, right? So I got to figure out how to be creative with this kind of stuff. And like looking back, I can't believe that somebody would go on Craigslist to find somebody to help with
Well, you were
PPC.
Probably charging much less, right?
Oh yeah, much less.
What were you charging back then?
I think it was like
what was a Craigslist
I think it was like $300 a month or something like that.
$300 a month. You'll find that guy on Craigslist.
Yeah, and well, that's true. That was me. The best thing was I invoiced weekly, because I was like going 30 days at a time is too much of a commitment. I'm only going to go week by week commitment. And so
because you didn't want to commit.
Well, no, I was fine. Like if they wanted to sign a year deal, like I would make money, but it was more for like them, what I was thinking like they would be afraid of, because again, they found me on Craigslist.
Right, you were projecting.
A little bit of that situational awareness. But it turned out to be a bother to get an invoice like every single week to have to pay for and all that stuff. So I changed my ways later on.
Okay, so then how did you get into Disruptive Advertising, an agency that I believe once you got into, growth really started happening, right? So let's talk about how you got in there and then what happened from beginning to end.
Yeah, so I was still in school. I was actually making like $15,000 a month, like being a senior, and like doing PPC work in class, not really paying attention.
So while you were in college, you were doing random PPC ads for people that found you on Craigslist.
So one guy who found me on Craigslist wanted me to perfect his account and basically sell it to like a nationwide competitor, and that competitor ended up being the co-founder of Disruptive that I actually joined forces with. So we actually worked together for like about a year.
Okay.
I had more like the scrappiness, resourcefulness. He had more like the enterprise sales side, and so together, like we were a perfect combo to kind of go a lot quicker. Okay. And that's what you experienced when you came over too there for the first time.
Oh yeah. So those I'll give it about a minute and a half of like how we met. It was pretty cool. I was struggling in my agency. This was like 2015, maybe. I guess it was around
earlier, actually.
2014,
I think it was 13 or something.
Yeah, 2013. Struggling in my agency, so I decided to just Google ad agencies outside of my state because I figured maybe they won't know me, and it just happened to be you in Utah.
Right. Of all
and
places.
I was so impressed with the website, and I was so impressed with the person that answered the phone and the process that I asked to speak to the owner.
Yeah.
And they put you on the phone.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to compliment you. And I said, hey, what do I have to do to come down there and learn from you? How do I figure this out? And I admitted I was pretending to be a customer.
Yeah.
But in
I don't
reality,
even remember that. You did great, yeah.
I was like, hey, just so you know, I was pretending to be a lead. I'm really sorry for that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm an agency.
Yeah.
I want to learn from you. And you were like, yeah, sure. Why don't you come down? So not only did I go down to Utah to go there for free, you didn't even charge me, which is cool.
Right.
But on top of that, you picked me up from the airport.
I do remember that.
Which was so cool.
I remember my co-founder was like, why did you do that? I'm like, I don't, this guy seemed like he was great time. I'm going to pick him up and see what's up, you know?
So we go down, it was cool. I got a bunch of pizzas for the team.
I do remember that
we
too.
stopped, got a ton of pizzas. We hung out for like 4 hours and that was great. And I learned a lot that I was able to take back to my agency and implement.
Right.
Which is really cool. So now, how big did that agency get? What was the recurring revenue up to over there?
Man, I don't even
when
remember.
You left?
Yeah,
because I remember the whiteboard's at like 300K or the chalkboard.
Yeah, that's what we were going to. I think we were in the 200 range at that time.
Okay.
We were almost like 30 people as well, and that was like a year and a half into it.
Yeah.
We had a little of a strong start. Like we didn't start from scratch because we kind of joined forces with different client sets. But we were around there, and now they're big. You know,
Okay.
I knew it was going to be temporary for me, and so my wife and I are from Orange County. You know, living in Utah. We kind of missed our family, missed the beach, the weather, and all that stuff. And so it was perfect timing for us to move on and do something else.
Yeah.
And then go back, back home to Huntington.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now you started KlientBoost, $0 in annual or monthly or daily revenue,
right.
Nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
And it was essentially a competitive company to Disruptive.
Yeah, completely,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so what are the services that you provide now? Well, actually, what are the services you provided then and now if they've changed?
Completely the same.
Okay, so what are the services?
Well, it's just PPC and CRO, so pay-per-click advertising and conversion rate optimization.
Okay.
The interesting thing was I actually went back home with the goal of actually not starting another PPC agency at all. I wanted to actually build software.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm kind of burned out by clients and doing this like service stuff. Let me see if I can actually get a few clients to kind of pay for the revenue we need to build an actual product. And we kind of did more content, and we got some requests coming in, did a lot of guest posting and stuff like that. That worked really well. And then from there, we kept raising our prices because people kept knocking on our door, and then they also kept saying yes. And we're like, all right, F it. Like, I guess we're going to have to hold off on the software thing and like be another agency. And so now we're 40 people 3 years later and 140 clients. So yeah.
What's your biggest client pay you per month?
15,000. Yeah.
15,000 a month. So you got it ranging from that 3,500 to 15,000.
Yep.
Okay. So now let's go into the part that I think gives everybody the most trouble. And honestly, they probably have more problems down the road, but they don't even get to experience those problems because they don't get clients. Because their main trouble is they don't know how to get clients.
Right.
So let's talk about how the hell you're getting so many clients, because that's a lot in such a short time frame with no start, right?
Yeah.
So what's your number one, and actually let's not do it today because today's unfair because you're different now. You got money now.
Yeah.
You've got portfolio. Let's go month 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, because you started getting clients then. So how do you get clients in month 1, 2, 3 as an agency?
Yeah, the first thing that I actually did was, it was like looking back, it didn't automate anything. It was all just, again, scrappiness, resourcefulness. I had no money, I have time. But the thing I knew that would always get people to kind of perk up was to give them value first.
Okay.
And so I would send companies emails that were local that I knew I could go meet with and use a tool called SpyFu to kind of see if they were advertising and how much they were advertising. And then kind of tell them from the outside by seeing their landing page, by seeing their ad, hey, here's some ideas for you, that you want to consider. I actually had a virtual assistant in India kind of like scrape and find some like email addresses and stuff like that. That was like my only help, I guess, that I was trying to automate.
Right.
And then it got to a point where I got like a tax relief company, a junk car buying company.
I remember that one.
Yeah,
I think it was a big one, wasn't it?
They were random. Like they were so random. And like that was like enough for like the first couple clients. And then with that started guest posting.
Okay.
Because I actually leveraged other companies like audience that they already had and try to figure out, who has like a symbiotic relationship to PPC, and it started out being like a landing page provider.
Now really quick.
Yeah.
Just because the audience.
Yeah.
I know what guest posting is.
Yeah.
Just really quick, take it back. What's guest
Yeah.
posting?
Imagine, like, it's not the best way to say it, but like you're kind of like a leech and you're trying to jump on another person's body, suck out their blood, but in this sense, it's kind of like, it's a really bad analogy.
You
I
can
just
say it
realized.
that way.
Yeah,
you
it
can
is,
also
but I'm
say
giving value, I
provide
guess.
value
Yeah,
to their
a
audience.
leech that provides value. So basically, like when you're starting off fresh, you don't have any traffic, like you don't have any thought leadership, any reach of any sort, and so you try to jump on somebody else's ship and write a blog post that their audience thinks could be of value, right?
So how do you even get that relationship going in the beginning when you don't have any authority and you don't have any pull?
You pre-write it, so you actually come with value to the editor first. Is what I did, and saying, hey, I think this would be of great value to your readers, and would you be interested in all that stuff? So a lot of it's honestly begging to begin with, because if you don't have any background or anything that you can use as leverage to kind of ladder up, you kind of have to start there and just hope that you can get like just one yes. And with that one yes, you can take that and then go ask another company as well. So you kind of use that step approach in that sense.
That's kind of how we started building up our podcast guest list.
Okay.
Little by little, it's like you get like a guest that's okay.
Yeah.
But then little by little, it's like once you start getting good guests,
Right.
other guests want to be on the show.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
there
So
you
it's
go.
same thing with the guest posting.
Yeah, it's like social proof.
Now, for those of you that are watching that or listening that don't own an agency, this works for any industry.
Right.
To be able to start building yourself as the authority and the expert in this particular industry. So I don't care if you're an accountant, like you were talking about before, or
Right.
if you own a junkyard or whatever you do. If you run a podcast, being able to leverage other people's audiences in order to start getting eyes on your brand and your personal brand, your company brand is great. So you did a lot of that. But you also did some speaking too. I remember that. Was that a big part of it?
Not at all. I honestly feel like speaking this ROI is pretty slim, to be honest. It's great in the beginning because it fuels your ego, which is awesome, right? You need to have a little bit of that, if I'm being honest with myself at the same time. But we actually had a booth at another conference, spent a ton of money and got pretty much zero sales from it, even as I was speaking at the same time too. And so it's great for a thought leadership, because I feel like anybody can write a blog post. Anybody can have a social media account, but to have other people vouch for you to do a speaking gig, that's a bit different. You know what I mean? It gives you a little bit more credibility. So that's the only reason why I wanted to do that in the beginning. And I would also pitch. I did not get the requests coming from them and them asking me to come speak. I was nobody. I still feel like I am, right? But now slowly, because I have that compounding snowball effect, now the requests are coming, my way as well.
How many leads would you say you get incoming every day right now?
About 10.
10 incoming leads a day?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And what's your closing rate on those leads? Because I know some of them aren't
some
good
of them,
fits.
some of them are not good fits, and we're actually thinking about different offerings and stuff like that for them too. Of the ones who are good fits, this is the problem, because I've been doing sales for the longest time, and I drop the ball. I have too many things that I'm juggling. About 20%, to be honest, that are good fits, which is actually a really bad closing rate.
Yeah. Well, that's a good closing rate for internet leads.
Yeah.
When it comes to referrals, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be closing anywhere near that with referrals.
Yeah.
But when it comes to internet leads, I mean, I say I take 10, 15% of my leads closing. I think that'd be okay. 20% is pretty good.
Well, the thing to think about too is they're coming from reading our content or listening to a podcast. So
it's coming from content, not from ads.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So the sales process is actually really quick once we get the right fits on the call. So 20% could be so much better, considering that the sales are already halfway done.
So when the person calls you, what's the sales process look like?
Yeah.
Do you close them over the phone? Do you do video?
We do a intro call first to kind of get to know about them a little bit. They have some questions about us, and usually it's the elephants in the room, what's your pricing like? Do you have any contract terms? And then from there, we do an evaluation over a screen share. Okay. So I get access to their accounts. I do a little prep work. I get on the call, and they can see the screen as well, and I kind of ask them what are your goals? And truth be told, we're more of a one-trick pony, to be honest. As an agency, we do it very well, and so most of the things that we actually recommend apply to any account regardless of the size.
Right.
So it's not really that complex either.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've done with our agency. I learned too. It's not to do 1,000 things and overcomplicate it. Just get this one thing down really well.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just scale it.
Yep.
And just get more people that can benefit from it.
Exactly.
Just make a size 9 shoe and find all the 9s.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now once you get the person on board, actually let's take it back. So the sales, do people ever bark at the price? $1,500 or $3,500?
Not really.
No?
Not really.
Because they read your content. So that's how valuable content is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. So we're also a little bit different because we're not just a regular, advertising agency, we also have the whole design aspect too. So we're like instead of a one-trick pony, we're like a two-trick pony. Like we're doing that, hybrid approach. And so naturally we can charge a little bit more than the average agency that just does the advertising part. But it's really rare. Even if we come in and we charge them more, if it's a comparable agency that does what we do, we build that brand, we build that thought leadership, and that helps us out in that closing situation. So I would say like 5%, maybe talk about pricing or try to haggle a little bit.
Right.
And then usually I'm just like, nope. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll go.
Now, one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize that we deal with, our retention rate as agency owners is almost as bad, if not as bad, as like gyms. Because here's the truth. The reason gyms can't hang on to people is not because the gym's bad. It's because people just don't do the right things. They don't get the results, and there it is. And kind of the same thing too. Small businesses are designed to fail.
Right, by the stats.
You can figure it out and break that mold, right? But most businesses fail. We can't avoid that because people don't do the work to find all the other pieces.
Right.
Having a good lead gen program or a good marketing program isn't what makes you successful.
Right.
That's a piece. Yeah. You're a basketball player. That's like saying I can hit free throws. That's a piece. Yeah. You still got to play defense. You still got to be able to run the motions. You got to do all that stuff. Same thing here. You can get leads. That's great. You can have the best marketing plan in the world, but if you can't close and or if you can't keep your people and get your margins good, you're going to fail. And so I don't know if you experience this, but you deal with businesses that unfortunately, no matter how good of a job you do, you lose people. Yeah. What's your retention look like with that? Because I think it's, from what I've been hearing, it's better than most anyway.
So we are at like every potential scenario of like losing a client, we're at 94%, like right now. On average.
What does that mean?
So month over month, every month we lose 6% of our clients.
Okay, and that's kind of how we measure too. Yeah. So if you started with 100 clients in that month, 94 of them will still be with you in that next month.
Exactly.
Okay, that's kind of how we measure. We measure the exact same way. Okay, cool. And so
is that the right? I don't know if that's the right way to measure it though. I know there's like a million different ways.
Yeah, there's different ways. Well, it depends on if you do contract stuff like that. Yeah. So usually what we'll do as well, because we do at minimum 3-month agreements. Yeah. So we have 2 different ways to measure it. We have one way where it's, yes, how many people are still with us the next month. Yeah. But then the other way is how many people retain for that 4th month, which is totally optional.
Got it. Yep.
Right. So that's another percentage that we'll measure too. Do you guys do agreements at all?
Yeah, we do. We have a 3-month, same thing. 30 day out, and then it's month to month.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And so what do you think is the reason you have such great retention? Because even though you get great results, there's more to that.
There is. And it's not just like a lot of them are like the force majeure, if you know, like the French saying of like contract language is like act of God. Okay. If like a new CMO comes in and they have their favorite agency that they're working with, or literally we had a school in Mexico that suffered from the earthquake and like they had to shut down all advertising. That was literally like an act of God, right? Like that, you can't do anything about that. But I'm obsessed, even at 94%, which is, I guess, decent. There's always progress to be made, and there's always things to learn. So every client that we have where it could be like a communication issue, like I've been on talks where clients literally did not know how well they were doing with us on board compared to before. Either we didn't give them the reporting they needed or give them the high level stuff. So things like that can completely blow your mind as like an agency owner is so silly and simple sometimes that we can lose a client over.
So give me the simple silly. Yeah. I'm your client right now. Yep. I'm on the ledge. Yep. Okay. What are the things that I'm looking at or not looking at that makes me sit on that ledge? And then how do you get me off? What are the things you bring attention to?
So you could be a client that feels like you're the one that's always proactive. For example, like you come with the ideas, right? Or we don't come to the calls that we have with you with an agenda in place so that we can control the conversation. So you feel like, okay, well, we don't really have anything set to talk about. Let me just ask and drill down into things and all that stuff. The other thing could be like pressure from higher ups. A lot of times that happens too. But to be honest, like most of it is the ability to close as well. Like new business that comes. Sometimes we've had clients that are like overwhelmed and they're like, we got to stop working together. We're like, what the fuck? Like what? Yeah. How? Great problem to have, right? Yeah. And then there are some instances where like we just didn't hit the goals that we set. Like we didn't bring the results as fast enough. So, but most clients, if you have honesty, transparency in that communication, and you can share the wins and the losses together, and you're okay talking about that and not just shining the good things, but also talking about the things that we learned that didn't work out, they're happy with progress, even if you don't hit the goals. Wow. And so it's really hard for somebody who's really good at the technical skills, which requires a lot of learning from our end as an account manager that actually deals with the clients, to then also be good at the soft skills, which is something that I think is where we lack the most sometimes, not actually the technical side.
Why do you think you lack that?
Because a lot of people that we bring on board are not used to our personality as a company. Like, they're not used to the fun, open nature. And I'm like, put smileys in the emails, put gifts in the emails,
Right.
call them and end the call. There's a guy on our team in Arce who I literally told him, next call you have with a client, end it with Gucci gang and then hang up. He's like, because he knows what that means, but the client probably doesn't, right? I'm like, just break out of your shell, because you're so used to just being like corporate and not smiling, just being like transactional, you know?
Right.
And so that's one of the actually main differences why we're not called Customer Boost and we're called Client Boost, because customers are transactional, clients are relationship based.
Okay.
And so it's something that I've been like, you know, we've been growing so fast that all the problems we had have kind of been kind of small, because growth kind of masks that. But it's something that I'm getting to right now, figuring out what can we do to help people, you know, delight our clients, not just get by and meet expectations, but beyond just the actual, you know, getting the goals and the technical skills, actually making them feel like they're their best friend. And if they ever wanted to quit, they would feel the most guilt they've ever felt in their life to move away from us. Like, that would be my goal.
Yeah. So what drives you to get to, what did you say, it was like 400, 500K a month?
500K, yeah.
500K.
Yeah.
What drives you to, because that's hard work.
Yeah.
That is extremely hard work, not just to get, but to keep.
Right.
That is very, very hard work. What drives you to get to that, as opposed to doing what most agencies do, where it's kind of like 10 to 30K a month?
Right.
That's where 90% of agencies live.
Yeah.
Is under that 20K a month
Right.
mark. Believe it or not.
I had
man.
no idea.
It's, well, you got guys like Ty Lopez that have literally gotten over 300,000 people to like start a social media marketing agency or whatever it is. It's like crazy. So you got people that have like a client or 5.
Right.
So, but like, what is it that pushes you to get there? Why do you work that hard?
So the fun answer is that when we hit 500K, the whole team is going to Ibiza in Spain, the party island of the world.
Okay.
The not so fun answer, which is also kind of cool, is that I'm just obsessed with progress. Like, I think anything can get better. And we started this agency from the ground of, let's build a brand, let's build some thought leadership. And that snowball that I talked a little bit about earlier, as every time you publish something new, it grows in size. And so it becomes almost like a disservice to not want to grow bigger, right? Because it just takes care of itself. Now, you of course have to make sure the quality is high, the quantity is still there, and that you're doing other things, because the competitive landscape keeps kind of growing. But like, I had a marketing professor. Of all the professors that I can remember in school, this was the only one that I actually cared about. And he basically said, success is the progressive realization, is the repeated realization of progress. That's basically what he said. And I was like, damn, that's heavy. And I still have it as a note in my iPhone of like, I don't know, 5 different iPhones I've had.
Right.
So that becomes a little bit obsessive, and to build something is pretty obsessed. I get obsessed with that too, because you can see the improvements. You can feel like your armor is getting stronger. You level up. You can do new things and all that. It's kind of like a video game all of a sudden.
You know, that's one of the trends we're noticing with all the GOATs that we interview, is that obsessed is like a key word.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone, who's one guy we interviewed, he wrote a book called Obsessed.
Okay.
Literally, it's called Obsessed.
Nice.
You know, and he just had a conference we just at called 10X, and it was just, Obsessed was thrown around so many times by, you know, 2 billionaires that talked about the word obsessed.
Yeah.
And obsessed isn't a bad thing. You know, I think you grow up, you hear it negatively, but obsessed is just like relentless, like focus to get better and better.
I get annoyed when I have to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I get annoyed when I have to sleep. I'm like, but I need like 8 to 9 hours anyways, because I get sick and I'm like groggy as crap.
Yeah.
Caffeine doesn't work on me for some reason either. So I get annoyed and frustrated with that because there's so much to do, and like the ideas are endless as well, to kind of like, which one do you want to prioritize and all that stuff
and
too.
You've got to pick one. You can't do them. I mean, you can do them all, but
one by one, right?
It's hard to be obsessed with 12 things.
Exactly. So I focus on one thing. And another thing too that's I think is actually, most people think this is a bad thing, but I'm also very greedy at the same time. But I'm greedy in the sense that I'm doing this for my family in Denmark that doesn't have a lot of money. They live on welfare, all of them. They've been through depression and all that stuff. And here I am, like half American, being like the capitalistic, you know, versus socialism side. And so I'm like, man, I could never do this in Denmark. Like, we got 5 million people there. Look at the and if I wrote this in Danish, I wouldn't reach people in the UK or Canada, New Zealand, Australia, you name it, where we also have some clients. And so I'm like, how can I not take advantage of what I have in front of me, right? And now I feel like I have, like I could easily be the person who has a couple clients, makes 30 grand by myself, and like just living the sweet life, right? And eventually retire. But now I feel like I owe it to so many people who are on the team to keep growing so that their opportunities are like happening even faster as well. So I have all this accountability that I didn't even put on myself that I would think I would do, but it just automatically happened, and it feels great to honestly have that.
Well, you got to be greedy first. You got to be greedy first before you can be charitable, because I was on a plane on the way here. What do they tell you with the masks? What's the first thing they tell you?
Put on yourself first.
Put on yourself first before you help anybody else. Right, because I can't save you if I don't know how to save myself. Right. If I'm dying.
Exactly.
Right. And how are you going to help your clients? Help them with their business. Right. If you don't know what the hell you're talking about, because you've been so. And that's one of the things you hear with a lot of agencies. I'm so good at helping my clients get results, but I can't help me get. I can't do it for myself. It's like the barber with the bad haircut. Right. You know. So how are you helping them? You think you're helping them. So I think you have to be, and then afterwards, yes. I mean, I think it's. I don't know anyone. I think movies growing up had a bad portrayal of like really successful people. Right. You know, it's like successful people are greedy and like
Wolf of Wall Street. That wasn't growing up, but that's just like a recent one, you know?
Yeah, that was like the one, right? But but like, you know, growing up, it's like the rich guy is the greedy dumb guy that just happens to be rich. Right. And then the broke guy is like, you know, the real smart, cunning, sly one that figures it out and always dupes the rich guy. In a reality that like they'll never happen. Right. That doesn't really ever.
It's like Aladdin and Robin Hood, you know?
Aladdin, to say Robin Hood, same thing. So, but in reality, what I've learned is most of the people that I've met that are doing really great, the GOATs that are doing really well, they donate more than those people that think they're greedy make. Right. In like 5 years sometimes. Right. You know, because. And they mentor more than not only these people do, but could.
They bring value. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I have again, not to show off or anything. I have people in Costa Rica, Finland, Estonia, Mexico that have reached out to me, and they're like, I love what you do, and like what you and Gary Vee do. I'm like, whoa, that's like a group that you just put me in. I'm excited. I'm pumped. That's my idol, you know. Yeah. And so, in a sense, like that's philanthropy because you're giving out and you're receiving. But I mean, every single thing that you do for charity stuff is you have the mindset of how it can also benefit you at the same time. And so if you can have a symbiotic relationship with that going on, you're going to win, and all the other people
because it can keep going. It like fuels each other.
Exactly.
You picked me up from the airport, right? Probably at your most greediest time, right? Like thinking about how can I get to Huntington Beach and get out of here because I want this. And then you're like, but while I'm thinking about that, let me pick this guy up that I don't know from the airport and help him with stuff.
I look back, I'm like, would I do that today? I don't know if I would do that today. I'm not sure.
I'm a pretty good salesman.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you offered pizza, so I was just hungry.
Pizza wins. I was like, how old are you? 24. I'll bring pizza. All right, cool. So. Now, what's next? Like, you're about to hit 500K. Obviously, you're going to be going to, where do you say, Belize? Is that what you're
No, Ibiza.
Ibiza, okay. So
I had to think for a second.
Just crazy.
Where am I going?
So, okay, so now you do that. You're in Ibiza. Everyone's having fun, drinking tequila. And you're on your iPad writing down next. And what is that? What's under that line?
Yeah, well, first, it's not an iPad because I don't have one. So it'll be on my phone, I guess.
Really? You have an Apple?
But does that mean I have an iPad?
I just feel like it would all work together, but maybe
You're right. I'm not fooling the ecosystem. No, the next thing is actually going back to the roots of what I thought KlientBoost was going to be, and that's going to be the software side.
So you're going to start working on that?
Yeah. So I'm basically in the mode right now of building infrastructure. This is like snagging, sorry. And like making sure that I can work on the business, not in the business, because I'm so in the business still. And then basically being able to kind of think of us as like an Uber now with human drivers, and how we can be the autonomous, vehicle. So there's a lot of software things that we're working on for that. We also have a lot of clients asking us for SEO services, so we're building a sister company as well, called Moonbank. Funny enough, it's a cute little mascot logo. You'll see it. Yeah. And I think I don't want to veer out of marketing and advertising. I want to be in that because I've built some level of respect so far that starting fresh somewhere else doesn't make a lot of sense. Right. And so software is my next challenge. Like I've done it twice with agencies. I want to see if I can get a crack at it with software. So I'm really excited for that.
What's one thing you do daily or weekly? I don't know if you're a routine guy.
Eat chocolate.
You eat chocolate every day?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
almost every day.
What's the benefit other than pure joy?
That's it. Like I just really am thankful for life, and then I have like enough patience and like energy to deal with the crap sometimes.
Cool. So no other routines? You don't like wake up and do something every day, or before you go to bed, or?
I have like an obsessive old school like Neanderthal style of like writing everything down on like longer Post-it notes. I'm a to-do list kind of guy, and so if I don't have it physically in front of me, I will forget about it. You know. So this is my thing. I get obsessed and so excited when I cross something off. It's like endorphins like no other.
Dopamine is what it is.
Okay, there you go. Sorry.
Dopamine.
Oh yeah, you're in the fitness side, so I forgot.
Oh yeah.
You would know.
And the funny thing is, here's the crazy thing. So like, you know, when you have a to-do list, you have like 6 things.
Yeah.
You like check it off. Every check is dopamine. The closer you get to the bottom, actually more dopamine's released with each check.
No way.
Because you know you get closer, right?
Okay.
Which is why a lot of people like starting with the small stuff.
Yeah.
Because it feels good to like make it
amount.
smaller.
Yeah.
But that's not how you should work, right?
Yeah.
Prioritize the most important thing first.
Yeah.
But then you ever get down to like you have 2 things left, you check off the one you just did, and you know you're going to do the other one, so you just check it now because you know you're about to do it.
And you finish it later?
And you feel like shit.
You're right. Yeah.
That's because it releases cortisol. So actually, when you cheat yourself, you actually release so much cortisol that almost all the dopamine you gain throughout the day is worthless, just because that's so. Never cheat yourself.
No way on the checklist side.
Yeah, and actually just let it be.
Yeah.
Go get the thing done, and actually that last one releases more dopamine than all of them.
Than ever. And then I crumple up the paper and I Kobe it.
And if you make it, it's like,
oh my God, I'm just like euphoric at that time. I can't.
Dynamic dopamine.
So that's basically the only secret I have, I think.
Okay, awesome, cool. Well, other than that, man, I'm real impressed with everything you've been doing.
Thanks, man.
And for everybody that's, that hasn't heard of Johnathan Dane and KlientBoost, definitely follow him. He's constantly putting out more and more content, growing and growing, and he's obsessed, right? So if you want to build your agency, or even if you just want to learn how a guy like this is able to do it twice.
Yeah.
And now I know you're going to do it again with the other sister companies that you built. Now I'm excited to see that too. So man, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, dude.
For everybody that's watching and listening, we will see you next week.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever your favorite place to listen to podcasts might be. And if you really like this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.